Welcome to Exploring with D-Rob. Let's go. Little change of pace today. Going to check out some Red River Gorge arches. Each of the arches you'll see are arches that I have visited. Some are arches that I've found or confirmed the location of. Despite recent popular belief of Red River Gorge being some type of waterfall mecca, which it's not, Red River Gorge's claim to fame is for its sandstone cliffs, climbing routes, and sandstone arches. You'll see on screen I have pictured Bill Patrick's Arches of the Red River Gorge, volumes 1 through 10. Bill's been documenting and visiting arches in Red River Gorge for over 20 years. Each of these DVDs gives GPS coordinates for the arches, as well as some info on the area they're in. These are a great tool for anyone wanting to hunt arches in the Red River Gorge. Be sure to check them out at www.redrivergorgearches.com. Now, let's go check out some of the arches that I visited. The first arch we have here is Hopewell Arch. For more information on Hopewell Arch, be sure to check out my video, Red River Gorge Short Hikes 5. I'll also mention today that all the arches pictured are in no particular order. Here we have Double Arch. Be sure to keep an eye out on my channel. Plan to do a video of this area pretty soon. This next arch I actually got to visit with Gerald Goodpasture, the author of Hinterlands. Got to Oxier Ridge Trailhead that day. Ran into him and his hiking partner. Got talking to him. Wound up hiking with them that day, and we checked out Skyview Arch. If you own the 4th edition of Hinterlands, you'll find a picture of me and under Skyview Arch. A lesser known arch here. This is Rock Garden Arch. As you'll notice in the images in the video, this area has some fantastic coloring in the sandstone cliffs. With so many spectacular arches in Red River Gorge, I don't know that I can pick out one favorite arch. But this one here is definitely top 5, Star Gap Arch. visit this arch after a rain, you might get lucky and catch a small waterfall coming through it. This is Sandy Arch. Despite being a significant arch and the Shelterweed trail passing over top of this arch, it is somewhat a lesser known arch. This is White's Branch Arch. This next arch here is probably familiar to a lot of people. Real popular arch in Red River Gorge. Definitely top 5. This is Gray's Arch. For a little more on Gray's Arch and a little hiking in the area, be sure to check out the second video I ever uploaded to YouTube, my Gray's Arch loop video. This arch here that you can find on my video Red River Gorge Short Hikes 3 is Moonshiner's Arch. I mentioned my Gray's Arch loop video earlier. This is another arch you'll see on that particular video. This is Midstep Arch. The next 5 arches you'll see here are all arches that I have found. They're all currently undocumented, so the names with each picture are unofficial. While it's probably not top 5, this is still pretty high on my list of favorites in the Red River Gorge. This is Overlook Twin Arch. One of several arches in the Muir Valley area, this is Liz's Mini Arch. While these arches are not far from one of the most popular overlooks in Red River Gorge, these are seldom visited. This collection of small arches are known as the Sandcastle Arches. One of those high on the hill arches, this is Slanted Pillar Arch. Not sure how the name came about for this next arch, as it is deceiving to some people, making them think that it'll be a really large arch when they get there. Nevertheless, this is a nice little ridge-type arch, Arch of Triumph. Only documented in the last couple of years, this lets you know that there's still significant arches out there to be found. This is Upper Hood Branch Arch. While the light opening is not very large on this arch, the rock itself, where it gets its name, is the main feature. This is Ripple Rock Arch. This arch is located near White's Branch Arch and was off the radar for many years until recently. This is Ramp Arch. Takes a little work to get to this arch, but definitely worth seeing. This is Apache Arch. Another arch that's definitely top 5 in Red River Gorge. The first image you see here you may recognize from my short hikes video. This is Skybridge Arch. Probably the most known arch in the area, as people who are not even familiar with Red River Gorge has probably heard of this arch, and the state park is named after it, Natural Bridge Arch. Here's another arch from Muir Valley, named after the nearby climbing route. This is Sunnyside Arch. If memory serves me correctly, this arch was named after the day it was found on. This is Christmas Arch. If you've watched my Red River Gorge Short Hikes 3 video, this arch here will look familiar to you. This is Castle Arch. These next two arches will be arches you pass by if you ever visit Cherokee Arch. This is Rat Windows 1 and 2. This arch is easily top 10, and it has a few smaller arches in the area around it. This is Friendship Arch. This arch is located just before one of the best overlooks in the region. This is Twilight Arch. One of several arches in the Red River Gorge named after a dog. This is Rango Arch. Not far off probably the most popular trail in Red River Gorge. This is Taupo Window 1. This arch has seen a significant uptick in traffic over the last couple years. So far it's not been trampled to death yet. Hopefully it stays that way. This is Cherokee Arch. An overlook just past this arch is much more spectacular than the arch itself. This is Pioneer Arch. Unfortunately, this is an arch that's took some vandalism over the last couple years, as now you'll see there's spray paint in the area, unfortunately. This is Cloud Splitter Arch. One of the arches that sits atop of a high vertical cliff. This is one you definitely want to be careful around. This is Laurel Branch Lost Camp Arch. Not far from the last arch, this is Laurel Branch Double Bunk Arch. Another significant arch that can be found just off the Sheltoy Trace. This is Sheltoy Arch. Another nice arch in the Laurel Branch area. This is Laurel Branch Double Arch. An arch that receives its name from its looks. This is Pachyderm Arch. Here we have another arch located in a popular climbing area. This is Flat Hollow Arch. Not sure what Bill Patrick will name these, but I have them in my phone as Cherokee Lost Pillars. F-Stop Arch. These two arches are located together. This is Powder Mill Arch, and the smaller arch is Wolf Pen Arch. One of the arches with some of the best color and character in the gorge. This is Turtleback Arch. Tucked away in the rhododendron, not far from Turtleback Arch, this is Stumbler's Arch. A small pillar arch can be found just before Stumbler's Arch. This is Turtle Temple Arch. Some fantastic geology here in this area. And here, kind of towards the end of this rock shelter, is a drop-off pillar. To anyone that's followed the channel for a while, this arch will probably look familiar, as I did a video in the area. This is Devil's Market House Arch. As most people have already heard, there's talks of a resort being built in the Red River Gorge area. The next several arches are located on that property where the resort is to be built. watched my very first YouTube video, Best Beginner Hike in the Red River Gorge, this arch will look familiar to you. This is Rockbridge Arch. Not far from Whittleton Campground, this is Henson's Cave Arch. If you're a regular to my channel, this next arch may look familiar. I usually wind up visiting this arch several times each year just because the trail has a wide variety of wildflowers that bloom during different parts of the year. This is Whittleton Arch. Here's another one of the arches you may recognize from my Red River Gorge short hikes video. This is Whistling Arch. Here's another arch that I wind up visiting several times each year. You may also recognize this arch from my Red River Gorge short hikes video. This is Princess Arch. I'm usually not a real big fan of the limestone arches. However, this one here could possibly be my favorite one. This is Short Creek Fork Limestone Arch. My last visit to this arch was during the recording of my Red River Gorge Short Hikes 3 video. This is Unicorn Arch. While not a huge arch, this arch has a really awesome color and character. This is Deer Stand Arch. This next arch is yet another arch named after a dog. This is Scooter Arch. That the majority of gorge visitors have visited. Also on my Red River Gorge short hikes video, this is Angel Windows. This next little group of arches you may recognize from my Copperas Falls video. This is Copperas Arches 2, 3, and 4. I didn't include Copperas Arch 1 because I don't have an image of it, and 2 because it's not very photogenic. This is one of those arches that hide in plain sight. Many of hikers have took rough trail right past this arch. This is Pinchford Arch. This arch would have a lot larger opening if it wasn't for the rock fallout inside the arch. However, a lot of the rock that has fell out, you'll have a hard time finding any better color in the gorge area. This is Short Creek Arch. This is one of the arches commonly known by more than one name. Some folks refer to this as Hog's Gap Arch, while others call it Frog Leap Arch. Be careful when visiting this arch. As you'll see in one of the images, you may find Sasquatch sleeping there. This is Lullaby Arch. Unless you're an arch hunter, your attention will likely be taken away here by the small waterfall nearby, which is probably why this arch has went undocumented until recently. This is Waterfall Chaser Arch. This next arch definitely has the correct name. Has one misstep and you could be falling a long way. This is Danger Arch. I hope to revisit this arch this fall. Aside from Bill's DVDs, I don't think I've ever saw this arch photographed. This is Kettle Arch. My visit to this arch was on the way to some of the tallest falls in the gorge region. This is Doghouse Arch. Trails 201, the Double Arch Trail, and Trail 204, the Oxier Ridge Trail, get the majority of the traffic in this area. However, the Courthouse Rock Trail, Trail 202, follows along below Oxier Ridge Trail and is a nice woodland setting. Just off this trail, you'll find Off 202 Arch. This is a pretty cool arch, mostly because of the area in general, more so than the arch, as the arch is one of those that has its back against the wall. This is Lounge Arch. This next arch is accompanied by a nearby wet weather waterfall. This is Camp Branch Arch. A lot of awesome geology with tons of Lisa gang banding makes this arch really cool. This is Flaky Breaky Arch. Well hidden in the rhododendron, this is Archie's Bunker Arch. Thousands of people drive by this arch each year, barely out of sight of the road. This is Cyclops Arch. Seems like once or twice a year this arch winds up getting shared on social media and its popularity increases for a short stint of time. Tucked away out in the cliffy wilderness, this is Redbird Arch. These next three arches share the same stretch of cliff line. These are Eve's Beginning Arch, Sexton Arch, and Lisa Gang Arch. Here's another of the arches you may recognize from my Red River Gorge Short Hikes 3 video. This is Osborne Bend Arch. This is another arch found just off the Sheltoy Trace Trail. This is Carrington Arch. Here's a look at Needle's Eye Arch. These kind of put me in the mind of the Condo Arches, just on a smaller scale. These are the Rough House Twin Arches. While these next two arches are not huge, they do have a lot of character. The first is 4-pillar arch, and the second is second-story Hobbit house arch. You may recognize this arch from my Devil's Market House video. This is Spratt's Arch. Pretty nice little arch that most people have probably never heard of. This is Double Oak Arch. Here we have a few more arches just off the Sheltoy Trace. We have the Little Sinking Creek Bridge and Little Sinking Creek Arch Complex. Next two arches are just around the ridge from one another. First is Cat's Paw Arch, the other is Tabletop Arch. An interesting little arch that I found a couple winters ago. This is Behind the Stairs Arch. This arch reminds me of a smaller version of Cherokee Arch. This is Anvil Arch. Getting to this arch requires wading through underbrush and beating through some deadfall, but still a nice arch once you get there. This is Hopewell Arch. This next arch really showcases some of the spectacular color that sandstone can have. This is Rush Branch Arch. One of many arches found in the Star Gap area. This is Andrews Double Arch. A lot of people have mistaken a false arch out past Arch of Triumph for this arch. This arch actually resides at the base of the cliff just below Arch of Triumph. This is Oxier Arch. Another of the hidden in plain sight arches. This one is also visible from Oxier Ridge Trail of the wintertime. This is Breakaway Arch. An arch definitely named after its appearance instead of its whereabouts. This is Tall Arch. Pictures just don't do these arches justice. Really cool area. These are the Condo Arches. Arch, and it has a really awesome rock shelter behind it too. This is Papa Bear Arch. For anyone who's hiked the Sheltoy through Red River Gorge, or maybe just from the suspension bridge to Cloud Splitter, you've walked right by these group of arches. This is the Sheltoy Arch Complex. To start out the day, I found this arch a couple years ago. This is Lilliput Arch. This is one of the arches that have both great color and texture. This is Intersection Arch. Recognize this arch from my Red River Gorge Short Hikes 5 video. This is Keystone Arch. To be such a large arch, I only know of a few people that have been to this one. This is Bear Branch Natural Bridge. Another of the hidden in plain sight arches. Thousands of people will drive by this arch every year without ever knowing about it. This is Nato Tunnel Arch. This is another one of the back against the wall arches. This is No Entry Arch. These next four arches were some fantastic finds by Greg Anderson in the Salt Fork area of the Clifty Wilderness. Barely out of sight from the trail, this is Sheltoy Shelf Arch. And just a stone's throw away, this is Sheltoy Pillar Arch. Another of my finds, these are the Pebble Twin Arches. Another of the arches found in the Star Gap area, this is Surprise Arch. Sometimes when you're an arch hunter and a waterfall chaser, you get lucky and kill two birds with one stone. On my first visit to Sow Branch Falls, I got lucky and I found this arch. This is Ankle Arch. You may recognize this arch as it's made a couple appearances on my channel already in my Hidden Waterfalls of Red River Gorge video, as well as my Coomer Ridge video. This is Hidden Arch. Another arch from my Coomer Ridge video, this is Silver Mine Arch. This is just a small sampling of what Red River Gorge has to offer. There's hundreds of arches documented in the gorge region, and new undocumented arches are still being found each year. Be sure when you're out there visiting these arches or looking for the new ones to leave no trace. If you enjoyed this look at some of the Red River Gorge arches, be sure to hit that like button. And maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks for taking the time to check out the channel. Hope to see y'all again soon. Thanks for watching.